seat is securely mounted. My seat belt does not have any rips, cuts, or frays, and my seat belt locking mechanism works properly. Now I'm going to ensure that the ABS system is working properly by turning the key to the on position, ensuring that the ABS light turns on and then turns back off. Which it just did. Now I'm going to safe start the bus with my foot on the service brake and turning the key to the start position. The bus should not move. Okay, now I'm going to test my governor shutoff by pumping the brake 3 times and then allowing the air pressure to build between 100 and 125 psi. That sound was an indication of our governor shutting off. Now I'm going to do an air leak test. I'm going to place my foot on the service brake. I'm going to release the parking brake. I'm going to turn the bus off and turn the key back to the on position. I'm going to wait 60 seconds to ensure that no more than 3 psi is lost. Okay, 1 minute has elapsed. We did not lose any more than 3 psi. Now I'm going to fan the brakes until to test the low air light and alarm. It should turn on at approximately 60 psi. Then I'm going to continue to fan the brakes to ensure that our parking brake engages itself at approximately 30 psi. There's our light and alarm. And there's our parking brake. Now I'm going to safe start the bus with my foot on the service brake by turning the key to the start position. The bus should not move. Okay, now I'm going to test our parking brake. I'm going to keep my foot on the service brake, shift into drive, and raise our RPMs to approximately 1,000. The bus should not move. Did not. With my foot on service brake, I'm going to shift into neutral, and I'm going to allow the pressure to rebuild in the system. Now that our low air pressure light and alarm has turned off, I'm going to test the service brake. I'm going to place my foot on the service brake, release the parking brake, shift into drive forward at approximately 5 miles per hour. Use the brake to stop the bus. As we could see, the brake stopped the bus and the steering wheel did not pull to the left or to the right. Now I'm going to engage the parking brake, shift the bus into neutral, and I'm going to check my driver's window here. It opens and closes freely, it is free of any damage, and there is no visible signs of leaks. My windshield is intact, free of any damage, with no visible signs of leaks and no unauthorized stickers. I have my 7 mirrors here. They are all free of any damage and properly adjusted to me. Here I have my windshield wipers. The blades and the wipers themselves are not damaged, and they work on high, low, and off. My windshield wiper fluid is functioning properly. My left turn signal works on the dash. My right turn signal works on the dash. My brights work on the dash. My hazards work on the dash. My horn works properly. My water temperature gauge should read between 170 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which it does. My oil pressure should be between 25 and 75 psi. My volts should be between 12 and 15 with my amps in the positive range. My air pressure should be between 100 and 125 psi. Now I'm going to check my left panel here. My left fan works on high, low, and off. My right fan works on high, low, and off. My driver's heater works on high, low, and off. My rear heater works on high, low, and off. My master switch is on. My amber lights work indicated on the monitor box and on the dash. I'm going to open my door. My passenger door opens freely. My stop sign comes out. My my reds turn on my monitor box and on my dash. If I close my door closes freely. My stop sign retracts, and all of the lights on my monitor box and on my dash cancel out. So now I am going to do my child check. I'm going to turn the key beyond the off position. Walk all the way to the back of the bus. Now we're going to talk about the safety equipment on this bus. This bus is equipped with a fire extinguisher right here. It's securely mounted with a pin that is strapped in place by this plastic strap here. It is fully charged, which is indicated by the green or the arrow or the needle, I'm sorry, in the green right here. This fire extinguisher is ABC rated. Right here we have a first aid kit securely mounted with 9 unopened items inside of it. Up here we have our body fluid cleanup kit securely mounted in good working condition. In this box we have our 3 red reflective triangles securely mounted in good working condition. In that red metal box we have our 3 red emergency flares securely mounted in good working condition with our caps in place. So now I am going to turn the key to the off position, remove it from the bus. I'm going to use 3 points of contact to exit the bus here. We're going to unlatch the hood. And while we are walking around to the other side, to unlatch the other side, we want to make sure that there is no visible damage to the front of the bus and there is no evidence of any leaks underneath the bus. Starting up here, we have our hoses and our wires. They are all securely mounted, no cracks, no damage, and no leaks. Right here, we have our alternator. It is securely mounted, it is belt driven, and it is damage free. Inside of here, we have our water pump that is securely mounted with no damage and no leaks. This is also belt driven. And then we have our serpentine belt. It is free of any cracks, cuts, or frays, and it has no more than 3/4 of an inch play at the center of it. And we'll move on to the left side of the bus here. Again, we have our hoses and wires up here. They are securely mounted with no cuts, cracks, or frays, and no leaks. We have our air compressor. This is gear driven. It is securely mounted with no damage and no leaks. Right here we have our engine oil dipstick. We would use this to check for our proper fluid level. You want to check this on a flat level surface with the engine off. Right here we have our coolant reservoir. It is securely mounted with no damage, no cracks, no leaks. Right here we have our steering linkage. This is our shaft. We have our arm, our link, and our rod. Right here we have joints and sockets, nuts and bolts, and our cotter keys are all in place, not loose and undamaged. Right here we have our power steering fluid reservoir that is securely mounted with no cracks, no damage, no leaks. This right here is our steering box. It is securely mounted, steering box and our hoses. It is securely mounted. This is gear driven. It has no damage and no leaks. Now we're gonna move on to our suspension. Right here is our hanger. Back there is our shackle. They're both securely mounted to the frame. Attached to those we have our leaf springs with no cracked or broken springs, and we're not missing any leaves from it. These are securely mounted to our axle by our U-bolts and anchor plate. And right here we have our shock absorber. This is securely mounted to the frame with no damage and no leaks. Now we're going to move on to our front brakes here. Here we have our air brake hoses and couplings. They're securely mounted with no cracks and no damage. Right here we have our air brake chamber. This is securely mounted with no cracks, no damage, no leaks. No leaks on the air brake hoses as well. Right here we have our slack adjuster and push rod. This is securely mounted with no damage, no leaks, and no more than 1 inch of play. We have our brake drums in here. Those are securely mounted with no damage, and you can check the lining for excessive wear. Then we have our front tires. We need a minimum of 4 30-seconds tread depth on the front here. As we can see, there's no uneven wear and there's no damage to the tread or to the sidewall. Here's our valve stem and cap with our cap in place. That is damage free, and you would use a tire gauge to check the air pressure in these front tires. Right here we have our rim. It is securely mounted with no damage, no cracks, no welds. We have our lug nuts, which are all securely fastened with no shiny or rusted threads, which would indicate a loose lug nut. Right here we have our hub axle seal. It is securely mounted with no damage and no leaks. Now we are going to close the hood. As I'm latching the hood, I'm going to be pulling on my mirrors to ensure that they are securely mounted. I'm also looking to make sure we're not missing any hardware for them. You can see the mirrors are all securely mounted. Right here, behind this door, is our circuit breaker. This bus is, don't ever forget to clip your second clip there. Right here we have our circuit breakers. This bus is equipped with circuit breakers, not fuses. Underneath the bus we have our drive shaft and safety hangers. They are mounted securely and in place with no objects wrapped up in the drive shaft or the safety hangers. We also have our frame and cross members, which are securely mounted with no damage and no broken welds. Right here we have our exhaust pipe securely mounted with no damage, no cuts, no holes, which would be indicated by soot. We're going to move to the rear suspension here. The rear suspension just has a hanger, no shackle. It is securely mounted to the frame. We also have our air bellow back here. It is securely mounted, properly inflated with no damage and no leaks. Then we have our leaf springs. Our leaf springs are not broken, cracked, or missing any leaves. They are securely mounted to our axle by our U-bolts, anchor plates, and torque rods. We also have a shock absorber back there that is securely mounted to the frame, not damaged and not leaking. We also have air brakes in the back. Our air brake hoses and couplings are securely mounted without any cracks or leaks. We have our brake chamber back here that is securely mounted with no damage, no leaks. We have our slack adjuster and push rod that is securely mounted with no damage and no more than 1 inch of play. We also have our brake drums back here that are securely mounted with no damage, and you can check the lining on those as well for excessive wear. Our rear tires back here need a minimum of 2/32 tread depth. As you can tell, there's no uneven wear to the two tires or between the two tires. There's no damage to the tread or to the sidewall of both of them. This right here we call bud spacing. This is all evenly spaced and there's nothing stuck in between them. Since there's two rear tires, we have two valve stems and caps. You would check these for proper inflation using a tire gauge. Right here we have our rim. Our rim is securely mounted with no damage, no cracks, no welds. We have our lug nuts. They are all securely fastened with no shiny or rusted threads, which indicate a loose lug nut. And here we have our hub axle seal securely mounted with no damage and no leaks. Right here we have our mud flap securely mounted with no damage. Now to go on to the back of the bus. Here we have our emergency door. Our handle operates smoothly. The door opens freely. Our wind stops the door. We have our glass and seals right here, free of any damage and no visible signs of leaks, top and bottom. We have our hinges right here. They are working properly, securely mounted to the bus. The door closes freely and latches properly. Now the right side of the bus, you would check everything tire, brake, and suspension wise the exact same as the left side. Everything's pretty much the same except for the addition of the fuel door here, which opens and closes freely. We have a fuel cap right here with a rubber seal. Would you like me to demonstrate? Okay. And underneath the bus here we have our fuel tank. This is securely mounted to the frame with no damage and no leaks. Go forward a little bit. We have our passenger door. It opens freely, it closes freely. The glass and the rubber seals are intact, free of any damage, with no visible signs of leaks. Here we have our stairwell handrails. They are securely mounted with no damage. Our matting and molding on our stairs is all securely mounted with no damage. So I'm going to step on the bus. I'm going to turn the key to the on position. I'm going to turn on my hazards as well as my amber flashers. I'm going to step back off of the bus. As you can see, our four flashers here, our four amber lights, our four hazards and our two amber lights are working properly. This bus is equipped with 7 emergency exits. 4 of them are windows, 2 on each side of the bus. 2 of them are ceiling hatches, and 1 emergency door in the back. All of these are properly labeled and will sound an alarm if opened. Would you like, I will demonstrate on the back door. As I'm making my way to the back door, I'm going to be pulling on the seat backs to ensure that they are all properly mounted. So as we could hear, our alarm sounded. Our rear ambers, I checked those as well, and our hazards are working properly in the back. The seat backs are secure. Now I'm going to ensure that the seat bottoms are secured, as well as looking at the matting and molding on the floor to ensure that It is properly secured with no trip hazards. Which it is. Now I will test my brake lights, if you would not mind going and looking at that for me. I got the green light, so now I'm going to open my passenger door to turn my red lights on. I'm going to turn my brights on. I'm going to turn my hazards off, turn my left turn signal on, as well as my strobe light. And now we are going to check our lights. So at the front of the bus, we can see, starting from the top down, our clearance lights are all on and working. Our red lights are flashing. Our left turn signal is working properly. Our high beams are on. We have our reflective school bus tape that is secured properly, not damaged, not missing. All of the winches on the front of the bus are in good condition. Step to the left side of the bus. Up top, we can see that our strobe light is working properly. Our clearance lights are all on and working properly. Our stop sign lights are on and flashing. Our left turn signals are working properly. All of our reflective tape is secured in place, not damaged, not missing. We also have 2 orange reflective circles and 1 red reflective circle. All of the lenses on this side of the bus are intact and undamaged. To the back of the bus, from the top down again, we can see that our clearance lights are working, our red flashers are working, our left turn signal is working, our tail lights are all illuminated. All of our reflective tape is in place, not missing. Our license plate here is mounted securely. Our license plate light is on, working properly. I'm going to turn the right turn signal on. Okay, right here. Our reflective tape is in place and undamaged. We have 2 orange reflective circles and 1 red reflective circle. We also have our door light right here, which is on and working properly. We have a stairwell light in here that is on and working properly. All of the lenses on the right side of the bus are in good condition. Now we're going to step to the front one more time. As we can see, our right turn signal is working properly, as well as our low beams are working properly. That is the end of our light check.
Cut.